Enlarging an existing hole with a hole saw usually goes like this. It walks, it chatters, it grabs, and it tries to break your wrist. Now watch this. Same job, no plywood template, no janky jig, just the built-in Spyder trick most people never use. Today, I'm showing you the hidden moves that make these kits way more useful than people even realize. And yes, we started with the big one, how to enlarge an existing hole the clean way. You're gonna wanna use your drill in regular drill mode. You're not gonna wanna use it in hammer mode. You're not gonna wanna use any type of impacting. Pretty simple stuff. Here's the concept. Spyder's rapid core eject system uses two adapters on the pilot bit. So you can run two hole saws at the same time. The front hole saw becomes your guide. The back hole saw becomes your new hole saw size or your new cutter. That's the whole secret. Now, this matters. A lot of kits come with one adapter per system, so to do the trick, you may need a second matching adapter. No big deal. You could either get it in another kit or buy it separately. But here's the step-by-step. Step one, pick a hole saw that matches the hole you already have. That's your guide saw. Step two, pick your new, bigger size. That's your cutter saw. Step three, mount the guide saw up front and mount the cutter saw behind it, using two adapters on the same pilot bit. Step four, drop the guide saw into the existing hole. Now it's centered. It can't skate. It can't wander. Step five, run a slower speed, but use steady pressure. Let the bigger saw do the work. No chatter, you got a perfect hole. That's the difference. The front saw steers and your back saw cuts. And once you do it once or twice, you'll never go back to guessing ever again. All right, here's the next hidden move. Spyder can cut holes even at an angle, but there's one technique that keeps it from jumping. If you start at a full angle immediately, it'll chatter and grab. So we're gonna start by dropping our hole saw down on our arbor, our bit, right? Then we're gonna find where we need to drill. We're gonna start level, right? We're gonna drill a small pilot hole. And then once we have where we need to drill, then we're gonna tilt our drill upwards. Once we've made our notch, we're gonna move our hole saw up. If you need to, you go from the other direction down. And boom. Now you drilled on an angle. Now that was simple, wasn't it? Now, the most satisfying part of these rapid core eject arbors. And traditionally, you'd have to get your screwdriver in here and pry out. It's a real pain and it slows down your job. Not with these. Watch this. It doesn't get more satisfying than that. I literally love that. And I'm gonna be honest, I've adopted this system and these hole saws for that feature alone. Once you get used to that, a standard hole saw feels absolutely prehistoric in comparison. Trick number four, fast size changes. Only stay fast if your interface is clean. If swapping starts to feel gritty or it's like it's stuck, okay, it's usually dust and debris in your threads. You're gonna wipe them down and keep them clean, right? If you're running the Hex 10 setup, okay, Spyder even uses features designed to keep the hole saw from wedging into the arbor. So changes stay quick. You'll see we have these retractable pins. All we have to do is pull down, spin our hole saw on, right? You're gonna back it off just a little bit until those pins engage. Now, when you go to take your hole saw off, after working with it, it's just gonna slide right off. It's another awesome feature. Here's a little bonus for some of you that are saying, I'm already invested in another hole saw system with my own arbor system. Any hole saw that uses, like for instance, this Hex 10, it's a standard across hole saws. Or even maybe even Hex 8, right? Hex 10 with, let's just say, a competing brand's Hex 10 hole saws, it's no problem. You can use them on this arbor system and then get all of the benefits of that arbor system. Okay, here's trick number 5, the it won't fit fix. The number one frustration I see is it won't thread on. Here's the fix in 10 seconds. If it doesn't thread on smoothly, stop. Don't try to force it. With Spyder, you're typically dealing with two common thread systems, Hex 10 and Hex 8. You look, they're similar in size. It's a no-go. If it doesn't thread on that easy, you're doing something wrong, so don't do it. Trick number 6, pick the right kit for the material you're using it with. If you're cutting metal, stainless, or nail-embedded wood, you're gonna go bi-metal. If you're cutting materials like wood, MDF, plywood, plastics, PVC, and you want that carbide-tipped style versatility, okay, you're gonna go with this style of hole saw. Here's actually what you get real fast. It's a 14-piece carbide-tipped kit. You're getting 11 hole saw sizes, 2 pilot bits, and a Hex 10 arbor in a hard case. It also has a deeper max cut depth than the bi-metal kits, which matters in thicker materials. They also have this 13-piece bi-metal kit. It's got 9 hole saw sizes, 2 pilot bits, and both the Hex 8 and Hex 10 arbors, and it's all in a hard case. So here's the cheat code. If you want a bi-metal kit that covers the most setups, you're gonna grab this 13-piece kit. And if you want the carbide tip set for the right materials, like we talked about, grab the 14-piece set. All right, last trick, and this is the one that saves your teeth. It's gonna save you time, and it's gonna save you money too, because you're not gonna have to replace your kits as much. If you run hole saws too fast, especially in metal, you're gonna overheat the teeth and kill the saw. A 2-inch bi-metal hole saw in mild steel, you're gonna run around the hundreds of RPMs, and in stainless, it could be roughly half that. So slow down, use steady pressure, and for metal, use cutting oil. Don't forget the pilot bit. Your pilot bit needs to stick out far enough to guide the cut. If the pilot is too shallow, the saw will wander and chatter. All right, here's a 10-second test I use before every hole. 1, what am I cutting? Metal or nails? I'm gonna go bi-metal. Wood and PVC? I'm gonna grab the kit made for it. 2, does the hole saw thread on? If it binds, I stop and I match the system. Hex 10, Hex 8. 3, am I clamped and supported? And in rotary mode, no hammer modes. And then I drill. If you want, comment what you're drilling: wood, PVC, stainless, nail-embedded studs, fiber cement, and tell me which model of these Spyder kits. I'll tell you exactly what setup to use and whether you need that second matching adapter to pull off the enlarge the hole trick. All right, everyone, I hope the video's been helpful. I hope you learned a little tip or trick. I hope to see you all on the next one. Thanks, everybody.